Okay. Sometimes, generally, people have got a problem of not understanding what we mean by uh, management accounting or cost management. What we should understand here is that those we have got financial accounting information system and the cost management accounting information system. What we should understand is that financial accounting information system usually is for reporting to other external users, to other stakeholders such as shareholders, um, like investors, capital investors. We are talking about uh, people who want to invest into the company, regulators such as tax authorities, the government. They will be very what about the financial what reporting system, because those people they want to find out what is happening into the business. That's why in financial accounting information system, financial accounting, we use standards. For example, we understand that when you are preparing a statements, you are supposed to use IS1, a cash flow statement, IS7, all those standards which we have knowledge about. So what we should know is that before that, we should understand that the entity should have the cost management system. Why it is important for this? Because the cost management system will help the organization for costing out service products. It is very important to notice that that is for costing out services products. So when you should understand the costing element part of it so that you can be able to manage. Because for you to manage, you should manage those costs. So you should understand that the major problem is that people they don't know how to ascertain costs or the costing system. Then we should plan and control. Planning and control. So this internal information is very important. Eh, for planning and control. You need to plan and controlling for decision making. When you are making decision, you are making decision based on the events, on the plan and control system, on the decision making, which has been what you make a decision making based on the costing system, on the planning and the controlling. Then you can come up with what the decision. So it's very important for us to understand that the cost management information system is very important to us because if it is not there, you cannot plan, you cannot control. But you should start by what? By costing. So that is very important items we should understand. So you find out that the products here, the cost information is used for planning and control. It should help managers to decide what should be done and why it should be done and how it should be done and how well it is being done. That is very important issue when you are doing a cost management system. For example, information about the expected revenues and cost of a new product could be used as an input for target costing. Then you use that given information for the target what costing. That is very critical. So we should understand all those things to say we need to make sure that that information is very critical. Then you find out that when people are given the examiner or giving you some information, then that information need a flexible approach. Say maybe it will increase by 5%, even by 6%, or reduce by 10%. So it is very important for the students to have some mathematical background and to understand the English language so that at least they can able to come up with the proper presentation as required by uh, the adjustment needed. projected cost of design, development, test, production, market distribution, service would be essential information. Finally, cost information is critical input for many managerial purposes. For example, a manager may need to decide whether to continue making a component internal or to buy external, a supplier. So you need to use the figures to come up to say I should continue or not continue. So that is very, very, very critical for us to understand that we need to know this information. So cost management is a much broader focus than the found in traditional costing system. It is concerned not only with how much something costs, but also with the factors that drives costs. The, the factors that drive costs, such as cycle time, quality, and process of productivity. What are the factors that contribute such a cost? You should understand that. So managers must be able to determine the long and short run cost of activities and process, as well as the cost of goods, service, customer supply, and other objects of interest. So costs of this course also carefully studied. So we expect you as accountants to make sure that you understand these costs before you report to the external, before you prepare the financial statements, which are supposed to be presented to the external stakeholders. The management accounting system should start here. The costing start from the costing system. Then it goes on for the management to make decisions on whether are you supposed to continue with the production or not, depending on the result obtained on the what, on the costs. So it's very important for us to understand this. They are very important. So we continue having some key costs, some key elements here. The cost accounting information system is a cost management subsystem designed to assign costs to individual products and services and other objects as classified by the management. So it's very important to understand that the cost accounting information system is a cost management sub designed to assign costs. You assign costs maybe to certain what, to certain products. When you want to produce a product, you assign costs, you incur costs. That's all. You need to incur labor, you need to incur cost of raw materials and other variables. So that is critical, that you incur costs. For you to generate revenues, you need to incur costs. So for external financial reporting, the cost accounting system must assign costs to products in order to value inventory and determine cost of sales. You need to have the value inventory. Like in the assignments, I gave you the assignment, the question on the valuation of the inventory. How do you come up with the inventory? So that is very critical. Because those are the lifeblood of the what, of the organization. So you need to understand these items. Then this one was just a warm up. Was just so that you understand what we mean by a cost management system. Say, gone are the days we are moving from the traditional way, whereby we're separating costing accounting and management accounting. For example, those who are doing an old program, they are doing separately management accounting, then costing accounting. It has been noted that this is not enough. It should not be separated because those two elements, they work hand in glove. So what is now is that cost and management accounting is now being done as cost and management accounting 1, then cost and management accounting 2, other than separating them. Because you manage costs. What you manage, these are costs. You don't manage managers, but you manage costs. So we need to understand the costs of factors that are affecting the use of cost management. It's very important. I'll go just through. We've got global competition. People these days, there's competition. If we look like the Apples ones, they compete with the Googles. The Apple, they compete with the Samsung. They compete with the Nokia, iPhones, and so on. So what is supposed to be done is that because you need to make sure that you have a wider network so that you can improve. You're supposed to be remain competitive. So because of that, cost information plays a vital role in reducing cost, then improving productivity. So it's very critical. So you find out that because of that, because the managing, of course, makes the company on its own to have products which have got lower costs, but it improve, which are produced at a higher rate, and the quality also improving because they have got what the cost. So it's very important for you to manage what the managing cost. That is very critical. So it's very important to understand that for global competition, you need to manage your cost. Growth in service industry. For example, in service industry, you find out that like we are talking about um, companies which are competing like Microsoft, like Google. Imagine before the technology, all of you were supposed to travel sometimes as far as Zarabani to Harare to look for to go for physical lectures. But nowadays, at the comfort of your home, you can get the lecture at the comfort of your home. So all those are some of the service industry, the provision of those services which are there, which are provided by the network operators. So because of that, technology is very critical for us to understand that you need to manage what costs so that you remain in the system. Because people they need accurate information for planning, controlling, continuous improvement. That is critical because we need to remain in the business for planning, controlling, continuous improvement, decision making. That is what we're supposed to do. Then they've got the advances in digital information technology in the manufacturing environment. So they are now using data technology. Like banks, they use a digital information. Just you purchase something, this will follow suit by the message on your mobile or on your email. That is the digital movement. You can just buy your goods while you are here from USA, buy there instantly, then you get your goods to be transported. So people they should understand that it's very critical for people to manage costs. So that is those are some of the factors that affect what the management accounting system. Because you find out that because for advanced information technology manufacturing environment usually it needs to be it should move with time. Because if you are stagnant, you cannot go anywhere. Eh. You find out, for example, enterprise source planning software, the objectives of providing integrated system capabilities. So it's very critical for you to use that one. These days, some people they use they even there are technological advances in information technology which can be used by the cost accountants. To find out the cost accountants, they can use the advanced information so that at least they can able to share with the management. This is very critical for managerial purposes. But there are some complex products. When you're producing a product, it will go through many stages and it will require many activities. So this has been simplified again. So you find out that these are some of the factors which affect what the management costs in accounting. For example, we are looking about the theory of constraints. The theory of constraints, it encourages the continuously improving manufacturing. For example, the Toyota Japan, they were using the Kaizen system, whereby the company, that firm, there was a rapid growth because the company was using those the theory of constraints, whereby they were trying to improve at all costs the manufacturing, each manufacturing process of the vehicles. So you need to make sure that if you are in the business, you you you, you are you are faced with the changing environment. So because of the theory of constraints, that's why we have got, because the resources are constrained. What do we mean? Resources cannot be available, cannot cover each and every aspect of the organization. So you find out that they are saying it is characterized by the thinking process that begins by recognizing that all resources are finite. Some resources, however, are more critical than others. So some resources are more critical. What we are saying some resources, they can rise to what we call a limiting factor because they are the major components. Those resources, they are needed. If they are not available, it means the production cannot take place. But if those resources are available, then the production can take place. So we should understand all this as accountants. We need to understand that some resources, they are they are limited. That's why we come up with the limiting factor, because that's called constraints. Because for example, number of hours per day is 24. You cannot extend those number of hours per day. So what you need today, so it means at the end of the day, sometimes time becomes a limiting factor. So if you're supposed to produce something over 24 hours per day, maybe I allocated only one day, it means you should choose a product which maximize profit, which is going to maximize returns, or which is going to, whereby the investors are going to enjoy that returns. So we need to understand that those are some of the terms which you should understand whenever, as a manager, you need to whenever you are answering a person, can you ask yourself, these resources, I'm going to use these resources accordingly. I'm going to use these resources efficiently and effectively at a lower cost, at the benefit of the organization. Are the resources allocated, or the materials allocated, are going to produce higher output? So that is very critical. If the performance of the company is going to be improved or not. So that is very critical. So the money, it must be identified and exploited. Performance must be maximized, subject to constraint. So you're saying the performance as a business person, as somebody in your account, they should be what? Maximized. Then finally, to improve performance, the constraints must be elevated. The process is repeated until the constraint is eliminated. It is no longer the critical performance a limiting factor. The process then begins with the resource that has now become critical limiting factor. So that is very critical to understand that the theory of constraints, what does it mean? Say until you repeat the process until you find out that the constraint is what is limited. The constraint is no longer a limiting factor. That is the idea. So to achieve that under the theory of constraints, it should mean that if we're saying the raw material is a constraint, is a limiting factor, that at the end of the day, you should give the company make sure that it is now raw materials which can cover the targeted without treating a raw material as a limiting what factor because of the improvement. So we are saying this process then begins anew with result that has now become the critical what limiting factor. Using this method, lead times thus inventory can be what reduced. So it means the inventory time, holding time can be what reduced. Then we have got what we call just-in-time manufacturing. But just in time, we are saying we want to reduce the storage time of the inventory. So we just produce, we just order goods, then we produce day and day, so that we reduce the what the when we want to reduce the storage. Then also want to make sure that no inventory is obsolete, because the inventory should be used day and day. The inventory is used day and day. Then so it means that the company will strive to produce a product only when it is needed and only in the quantity demanded by the customers. You don't just produce for the sake of produce. For example, if you produce the Nokia, I still remember our days when we were young. There were some Nokias which used to have an area, the big ones, the Nokia 51. But by that time, those were the best. If you had that mobile phone, you were treated as a rich person. But imagine if you have staked them, or if you still have some of them in your inventory, who is going to buy them now? They don't have an internet. They've got a buttons like when you are using them, they are not even user friendly. Because even if you need to type a letter C, you have to type maybe 3 times ABC. So because of the improving technology, you cannot keep that inventory or in your that inventory for much longer. So just in terms, so you're saying you are producing what is required at that particular time, and they are producing, and even the ordering of the raw materials, they are ordering the material we should produce the products by, and as quickly as what is possible. So that is very important to understand this, that is a manager need to manage it. Most of us these days we are managing ourselves because we are moving through phases whereby people they are now preferring to work for themselves. So you should understand some of this concept. So just in time manufacturing is very what it's very important. They are saying we are just producing when no production should take place until they are saying the production should what take place or it's now needed. In fact, even the JIT manufacturing, it focuses again on the continual improvement and reducing inventory costs and dealing with the other economic problem. Likewise, say inventory costs, the co-direct cost and holding costs should be also improved. So reducing inventory frees up capital that can be used for more productive investment. That is very important, because you can, if you have got inventory, it can deteriorate, it can become obsolete instead of you investing in other areas which need money, which need which need to be financed. So that is very important to understand that. So traditional setup manufacturing allows the firm to focus more on quality and productivity. At the same time, allows a more accurate assessment of what they cost to produce. So that is very critical about what about JIT. That is very, very, very critical. That JIT is very, very, very critical. That it allows the firm to focus more on quality and productivity, and at the same time allows more assessment. That is very critical. So if you are a manager, you're managing your firm, an accountant, you should make sure that you advise the board of directors or the finance directors that it is very important, because it makes that there is no idle time. It makes that the products which are produced, they should be delivered as quickly as possible, and those products they should be in demand, other than just producing goods which are going to expire while they are still in your hand. That is not allowed. Let's go on to JIT, lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is very important. We are trying to eliminate the waste. It's a critical part of more comprehensive approach referred to as lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is the persistent pursuit and the elimination of waste that simultaneously embodies the respect of people. Because we should remove something which does not add value the end users or the customers. So if those are the costs which you are not supposed to incur. And if you does not eliminate waste, what do you mean? It means they are going to finance something which is not even helpful, which is not going to benefit the customers or anyone, and this is not the best way to go. So the encouragement will be trying to make sure that the lean manufacturing is used, is exploited, so that the entity will remove, eliminate waste. So this is very critical. So you need to understand these three critical ways: theory of constraints, just-in-time manufacturing, lean manufacturing. Don't say we're not told. When you meet the examiner might decide to set one of these two, give you a case start, then the examiner will ask you sometimes, can you discuss the theory of constraints? You need to have understand, like the way I was to say, it's a process whereby you want to try at all costs that the limiting factors will cease to be the limiting factors in the long time of the continuous improvement. Just in want to make sure that we produce the inventory which is needed, which is required by that particular time, so that we avoid we reduce the storage time, handling time, so that at least we allow more accurate assessment of the product cost. So that is very critical. Then the lean, we are saying we should eliminate what? We should eliminate waste. That's the lean manufacturing. So it's very critical. So don't say we're not told. When the examiner maybe decided to set one of these, then people they start crying to say, I did not learn. We're not even taught. I don't know what's going to happen. But they are critical in the modern management system. All right. So these were under what we're saying. They were under what? They were under digital information technology, advancing digital information technology. So they are critical elements which are used in this modern world. Theory of constraints, just-in-time manufacturing, and lean production. Then customer orientation. We are still looking on the factors that affect management accounting. But I thought of just going deeper and discussing with you, sharing with you those key three words, because they are always being used more and more oftenly in your module. You meet those words, so they are key for you to understand this. Then the customer orientation. Customers, they need new things. That's what we're supposed to understand. So it means you should continuously improve the value or the quality of the product, so that at least your customers will continue enjoying your products. So, but if you don't want to move with time, if you don't want to move with the digital technology, it becomes very big problem. So as management, as accountants, we should make sure that we advise the board accordingly, and advise our financial directors or our bosses that they should make sure that they should come up and establish a method which makes their products competitive, the products to be liked, or the products to be one of the best. So you find out that let's say this way, like value chain. Accounting managers are referred to firms value chain as the set of activities required to design, develop, produce, and deliver products and service to customers. That is very key. The value chain. What are you going to produce to the customers? What are you going to deliver to the customers? Then you have got activity-based management. Identify the activities produced at each stage of the development process. Access the cost. So we are saying at each and every, when you are doing your activities, when you are producing a product, you should make sure that at each stage you should assess the costs, manage those costs. Don't just ignore. Then target costing is very important to understand the target costing because it encourages managers to assess the overall cost impact of product design over the product life cycle and simultaneously provide incentives to make design change to reduce cost. Companies must compete not only in technological and manufacturing terms, but also in terms of speed of delivery and response. If you buy for example, let's say if you buy your Nokia a 5110 with an area, those ones which were popular during the last decades, then that takes 5 years to arrive in Zimbabwe, whereby people are no longer using them. It becomes useless. But the speed in delivery is critical, so that when the delivery is being done in time, it means people they can enjoy it with their products, while their products uh, they are still in demand, they are still marketable, their products are still user friendly, their products are still needed by anyone. So that's very critical. The total quality management, TQM, is very important to understand this one. Both continuous improvement and elimination of waste are two foundation principles that govern the state of manufacturing excellence. So be very careful. You need to continuous improvement. If you don't improve, then you fold your arms. You might find out yourself out of the business. But people they move with time. People they need new things. A customer they need the quality. They need to move. Like now we are talking about the 5G, but there are some individuals who are still producing phones with even no internet. You cannot compete. It becomes very difficult. Yes, maybe you might have a target population whereby you need to sell those um those cell phone mobile phones without what without internet, because these days people they move with them. So you need to understand that. So the philosophy of total quality management, in which managers strive to create an environment that will enable organizations to produce defect-free products, because it's a quality free product and service. That is produce defect-free products and services has replaced the acceptable quality attitude for the past. The emphasis on quality applied to service as well as product. So we are talking about the quality also need to be improved, but should eliminate waste and they should make sure that there's continuous improvement. That is critical. That is critical. Then we're talking about the data analytics. We're talking about the information which is provided to the manager. When this information should improve the organization, the way to raise as it is. That is very critical for that. Okay, so we need to understand these items so that whenever we are preparing, we are doing financial management accounting, we know what we are doing, we know what to read. Even if you are getting a question in the exam, even if you've never seen that area, but you have to write something to understand what we mean. Say you should have knowledge of the costing system, you have knowledge of making sure that we favor ourselves on the other side, other than anyone. So let me look on these ones. Are very key, very critical elements here. Forecasting. Forecasting, we are talking about the use in analytical tools and data mining techniques to discover key and relevant trends, both historical and predictive in nature. Budgeting, projecting the amount and timing of financial and operational resources required to allow the organization to achieve its long-term strategic goals. So that is budgeting. Don't get we budget, it warms. All of us budget, it warms. Then extraction, identifying, transforming, querying data, important financial analysis that have been multiple data user governance, controlling, visualization, Statement present complex analytical data and organizational documents. That's very critical. Then forensic auditing, that one, not worry about it, you'll be doing it as time goes on. Then your role as a management accounting. That is the role of as a management accountant. That one, we need to understand that to say what is your role. You're the controller, you're the treasurer, you're controlling costs. But some people, they are they don't want to be told. But don't tell people by saying, you're rust. I'm too new from the school. Don't know what you're doing. We don't do that. We need to be very polite and very professional. So when you're controlling, maybe there's something in activities which is not taking place well accordingly. So what you need to do, you need to be very professional. You approach so that you're a professional somebody. Don't embarrass somebody that you know, we are seeing you you are busy spending money. Don't do that. So let's look on the issue of the what's supposed to be done, the partial organization, manufacturing company, it is president, line, staff function, production supervisor, there is machining foreman, machining, there is machining, then assembly foreman, then production supervisor of the one, controller, treasurer, cost, internal audit, financial system, and tax. That is very important. So what is the information for planning, controlling, continuous improvement decision making? So what do you want this information? For planning, you need to plan for the future. You need to plan for the future. You don't just say because people are buying, so then you fold up your arms. There will be time where people are no longer buying your product. Then where are you going to found yourself in? So you need to continue what? Continually improving it. You need continually planning. Planning with others or the stakeholders. Don't blame anyone. Don't see yourself as taking others for granted. Very wrong. Controlling, after getting the feedback, then you can control. That's the key. Continuous improvement. That's the dynamic environment. You should keep on improvement. That's all. So the cost management support continuous improvement by providing information that help identifying ways to improve and then report the progress of the method. Decision making, you are now choosing alternatives to decision making. So that is what we are supposed to do, that we are now choosing what? The alternative. That is very, very, very critical to understand that. Then you can read the ethical profession, Institute of Management, what? Competence, confidentiality, integrity, credibility. Those are some of what? Those are some of this ethical standards. They should be the accounting should be high integrity. It's a competent somebody. The credibility of that person very important. So any person now for questions. That was the introduction. That was very introduction because some people they don't know what they are doing. They don't know what should be done. When they are answering management accounting questions or costing questions, they don't know what they are doing. They cannot even understand what we mean by the word costing. They cannot even identify a cost. They cannot even identify cost drivers. they cannot even allocate cost where necessary. So you should understand those critical items. Any questions want to discuss? This course is being registered by more than 300 people or 400, but the number of people are here. They are 24. When come to the examination, oh, people they will fail, we're not learning, blah blah and so on. Oh, I don't know. Sit home, relax, but it will catch up with you. Any question? Because we only try for the examiner, I will try to teach to get the question for examination from what has been taught during that semester.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, Chief.
I'm seeing that you are using a different module.
I don't teach using the module, my friend. The module is yours because I cannot teach using the module which you have. You are not benefiting anything. But what I am teaching is the same as in those questions are then the module. Those topics, theory of constraints is in the module. The JIT is there in the module. All those constraints, they are there in the module. But I cannot use the module for the benefit of you.
Okay, I get it.
This is a supplementary book which I shared with you. Those who are going 232, they've got that book. That's their core book. If you need it, I'll go to share with you again. It's a very big book.
Amen. I think they have helped so much.
We cannot use I can use the module there and there, but usually the module is a guideline, like what I'm always saying. And remember, some of our modules has been things are dynamic, and we are now being advised not to. We are now phasing out the modules. Like those are doing BACC 232. They are no longer using the module. They use a start guide, whereby they are referred to a certain topic to say go and read one grain or what is when you are going to get your information there.
Okay, sir.
But these topics, they are there in the module. If you look going the module, you see those, the theory of constraint, the JIT, they are there. I think it's the last chapter, but they are not that in detail like here. Anesushe, please, video, please. Anesushe, remove your video. Elizabeth, sorry. Elizabeth, it's not Anesushe. Anesushe, your hand is up. Can continue.
Yes. Okay, sir. I wanted to ask if you could kindly share the textbook that you are using.
I will share with you. Others who are doing, I uploaded it. I think for those who are doing 232, they have got it. But I will share with you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I think I'll upload it on my visa because it's a big book.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Elizabeth Dowera. Dimkero.
Yes, sir. I wanted to seek some clarification. You are saying module 323 or 322 because some of us are doing.
No, what happened? We have got 232 management cost and accounting 1. We have got 207 management accounting. You've got 322 management accounting. But all these 207, 2322, they have been phased, but we are still doing them. So it's the same course.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. You use the same course. It's just a name, just to change a brand name, but you are producing the same wine with the same taste. But those who are doing BACC 207, you continue using the old module is there on your My Vista. And 32, but those who are doing 232, they've got a start guide. They are being referred to the main book to say, go and read this one in chapter 1, in chapter 2. But that is the new standard which is required by the under new regulations by ZIMCHE. But those who are ahead, those who are in front, they use the old method. Because they are now repeating, especially 207. Or some they left the course, so don't leave the courses because they are going to be, there will be no more 207 in the very, very near future. Maybe you write it as an individual. Imagine if you are writing a course alone, it becomes difficult for you because people are going to pass it all of them, then you will remain alone. And it becomes, you don't have anyone to discuss with, don't have anyone to share material with. Then the paper is set for one person and you don't have a lecturer to teach you because we will be concentrating on 232 and 2322 other courses. So please make sure that you do justice now. 232. Okay, so I'll share with you the reading materials. I've got many reading materials which might help you. What is important is to understand the key concepts. You can have the billions of books, but not understanding them becomes useless. But what is important for you, like what I was explaining, the basics, to say those basics are very important. To say, why do you talk about theory of constraints? Why do you talk about JIT? Why do we talk about the total quality management system? That is very critical for you to understand at first before you go further. Then, after you have understood this, what you need to understand again, if you go here on this book, there is a summary of learning objectives. Maybe because of time factor, you might read these ones. Describe cost management and explain how it differs. Such a question the other time went in the examination. Some people, they were leaving was a blank page for, I don't know, the examiner's report was talking like that. Blank, the difference between though. Financial management uses standards. Management accounting does not even using accounting standards. Management accounting is internal for internal reporting purposes, while financial is for external to other for capital investment and other items. Factor that trends should people they will be failing to understand. Okay, these were just key elements which you should understand all of us. Then, like what I was saying, what we need to understand at first, I talked about people they should understand the issue of costing. To say costs, people they should understand costs. That is very important. Yeah, you find out that I said when you are managing, you manage costs. That's what you're supposed to understand. Because if there are no costs, if you cannot able to understand what are we mean by the word variable cost, becomes very difficult for you. That is very important for us to understand these elements. To say, should understand what we mean by the costs, assignments, costs directive, and we'll just, because we don't have much time, but I'm trying to give you a light on the key elements. You've got cost assignments, direct tracing, driver tracing, and allocations. So you should understand this. What do we mean by the cost assignments? Cost assignments is one of the key processes in the accounting system. improving the cost assignment process has been one of the major developments. So you need to make sure that you assign the cost to the product which is going to produce, which is going to improve the efficiency in production, the effectiveness in the production. That is very critical. Cost is the cash or cash equivalent value sacrificed for goods and services that are expected to bring current and future benefits to the organization. That is that's the definition of cost according to this author. These authors, in fact. So costs are incurred to produce future benefits. Like what I was saying, if you want to produce, you need to incur costs. So if you don't want to incur costs, you can't produce. If you are selfish, you cannot, you never produce anything. If you are saying you are selfish, you don't want to move away or you don't want to release funds. So in incur costs because you want to make profit. In a profit-making firm, future benefits usually means revenues. Future revenues usually means revenues. That's future benefits. Revenues, we are talking about, we get revenues from sales sometimes. That is where you get what? Revenues. As costs are used up in the production of revenue, they are said to expire. Expired costs are called expenses. They are called expenses. In each period, expenses are deducted from them from revenues. To understand that, profit and loss will also understand. Then let's talk about a loss. A loss, it means you are making a loss because you incurred a cost, but that cost did not produce any revenue. Be very careful on this term, because if you have got a loss, it means though you invested you invested your funds, but those funds did not produce the revenue benefit. So it becomes what? A loss. For example, cost of an insured inventory destroyed by a flood would be classified as a loss in the income statement, because that is a loss which you have what? Incurring. Then let's go on to the other items again. Some costs, they do not expire in the given period. For example, if you purchase a motor vehicle, if you acquire a motor vehicle or you acquire a building, this cost, they will continue. The cost of that building will continue there. So that one, they become non-current assets because they don't expire. But other costs, they expire. For example, you are talking about, you don't have that inventory. The inventory is no longer existing because it has been destroyed by flood. But here, you are talking about the computer which you are going to use time after time, maybe over the next 5 years. By virtue of that, you are going to use that computer over the 5 years. Automatically, it means at the end of the day, this is going to be, you are going to classify them as under non-current assets, because you only remove the element which is expired, that is depreciation, under depreciation, because that is the portion which is expiring. Say maybe the usage, the passage usage, that can be what accounted for. Then let's look about the costing, the cost objects. Cost accounting information, cost objects can be anything for which costs are measured and assigned. That's very critical. Anything which costs are measured and assigned. They may include products, customers, departments, projects, activities, and so on. That is very critical to understand that these are some of the what these are some of the critical objects. A product can be assigned a cost. A cost becomes a cost object. A customer, for that customer, sometimes you need marketing to market, to lure more customer, to do everything. Those departments, they are cost objects because they incur costs, those departments on their own, the projects or activities and so on. Those activities which have been taken care, they are cost objects. For example, if you want to determine what it costs to produce a bicycle, then the cost object is the bicycle. This is very simple and straightforward. So you should understand what we mean by the cost objects. An activity is a basic unit of work performed within an organization. That is an activity. The basic unit of work performed within an organization. Activity, it includes many items, because you are including many things, many actions within the organization, because you need labor, you need raw materials, and so on. In recent years, activities made as important cost objects or objects. Activities play a prominent role in assigning costs. That is very important. For example, activities including setting of equipment for production, moving material and goods, purchasing parts, billing customers, paying bills, maintaining. Those are the examples of activities which are supposed to be known by the management, what accountant. Those are some of the activities. Then activities. So if you are designing products and activities, inspecting the products and activity, what you are doing. So you find out that a product can involve many activities. One product, it needs to be ordered. You need to, for example, when you want to bring goods from Honolulu, it means you need shipping material. You need to hire a ship from there. Maybe you need to move those goods you need to install those that machinery. All those activities which are going to happen when you are buying, purchasing, or bringing the asset into use, or you are bringing the goods into use. So there are many activities which can take place. So you should understand that that is what under cost objects. So it's very critical to understand this. I'm giving you this so that whenever you meet a question, you can now understand what do we mean by the word cost assignment or cost cost allocation. That is very important so that people they understand what do we mean by that. So it's very important to understand that we incur costs. Anyway, whenever we are producing, we've got the key we incur costs. We have got three types of costs, though they are many. We have got some costs which are unavoidable whenever you're producing. Whether you like it or not, you incur those costs. That is the problem. For example, here I'll well match on the major so that people they understand these major elements. One, in a production, there are costs which are directly associated with the production of goods and services. That's what we're supposed to understand. One, let's say you're producing a furniture. When you produce a furniture, you need what we call a direct materials. These direct materials, you should make sure that you've got planks, you've got nails, and glue and other items. You've got direct materials. These are materials that are directly attributable to the production of such item. Directly attributable. That's why in this book they are saying they are traceable. So you need to understand. We call them variable costs again, because these usually they vary with the level of production. So it's very critical to understand that. So if the question says maybe they are saying the direct material is expected to increase by 10%, 10% of that, you need to be mathematically minded. For example, steel in automobile, wood in furniture, alcohol in clothing, denim in jeans, braces for correcting teeth, surgical gas for what and center what, ribbon in postage, soft drinks on an airline are all direct expenses material. So we need to be understanding. This is very critical. So whenever you want cost to assign cost, should look for assign cost on direct material first, because direct materials, those are the which are materials that are directly attributable to the production of what, of certain goods or services. You cannot do that. You cannot produce furniture, tables without sometimes without planks or without wood, if it is a wooden table. So it means that if you are producing a wooden table, you need this. If you are producing clothes, you need raw materials in form of maybe if you are producing a jerseys, you need wool and so on. So it becomes a what, direct material. Then direct labor. There are people who are directly involved in the production of goods and services. People who handle the material, carpenters who mold, who make sure that they are making the table to work. That is what we call direct labor. Labor that's traceable to the goods or services being produced. As with direct materials, physical observation is to measure the quantity of labor used to produce products or service. Employees who convert raw materials into products or who provide service to customers are classified as direct labor. I think we are together here. So don't misuse these ones. A supervisor or a manager, they are not part of direct labor. So we only want people who are directly involved in the conversion of raw materials. That is what we want. Workers in an assembly line at Dell, and a chief in a restaurant, a surgical nurse, a chef in a restaurant, a surgical nurse of an open heart operation, and a pilot for Southwest Airlines, example of direct labor. Why? Because a chef in a restaurant, the one who is who's preparing the food. A surgical nurse, the person who is going to be there on the perform the operation. A pilot who is going to try, who is going to make sure that is going to make sure that the aeroplane move from maybe to Shanghai, New York. That one is become direct labor. But these are two criticals. But direct labors and direct materials, they cannot work in isolation without overhead. They cannot work in isolation without overhead, because this aeroplane need fuel. This aeroplane need lightning. So we incur what we call overhead. That is what we call overhead. So overhead, sometimes these we have got variable overhead and fixed overhead. Variable overhead, because we are saying for you to travel more kilometers, you need more fuel, becomes a variable overhead. But there are some fixed overheads. For example, we are talking about the rent which you might pay in your house. Whether the landlord can just say you pay $50 per month. Whether I sleep there for 2 days or 3 days, because fixed costs, their period costs, maybe they can change, but on that particular period they are not changing, depending on the agreement. So here we are saying all production costs other than direct materials and direct labor are lumped into one category called overhead. The overhead costs category contain a wide variety of items Many inputs other than direct labor and direct materials are needed to produce products. Like what I was saying, you need an input for you to produce direct labor. The driver, that pilot need that aeroplane need fuel. It becomes an overhead. Need lightning. There is maintenance. There are managers who manage this aeroplane. Supervision. There is tax and all those things. So depreciation on buildings and equipment, maintenance, supply, supervision, materials handling are some of the direct are the which are overheads. So we need to understand that. So direct materials that form an insignificant part of final products are usually lumped into the overhead category. It's called indirect materials. Because these ones usually they are not directly traceable. So if they are not directly traceable, they cease to be what? Direct materials. So you need to understand these are the key: direct material, direct labor, overhead. So these are some of the costs which people they should understand. For if you need to do well in this course, or if you need to manage your business, you need to understand, you need to classify what are direct materials, what are direct labor, what are overhead. All those items are supposed to be what to be known. For example, let's look on this example. So all these, if we add direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead, we get what we call prime costs. For the purpose of understanding, let's do this example 2.1. Let's just do this one. These are basic concepts, but this basic concept, if you manage to apprehend them, you won't have a problem, because management accounting does not even controlled by standards. It's usually mathematically and just based on previous knowledge, you might not have a problem. Caretaker company, no, let one of my friends read there so that they won't sleep. Let one of my friends. Any volunteer? All right, thank you.
Information. Caretaker company manufactures cell phones. For next year, Caretaker predicts that 30,000 units will be produced with the following costs. Direct materials, 150,000. Direct labor, 90,000. Variable overhead, 30,000. Fixed overhead, 450,000.
Continue.
Should I continue? Why? Product costs are basic to management control and decision making. Managers use these costs for budgeting to check the impact of an increase or a decrease in unit sales on operating income. Since fixed costs stay the same when units change, knowledge of prime costs, conversion costs, variable product costs, and overall production costs give important information, allowing analysis of costs at differing levels of production. Required: 1. Calculate the prime cost per unit. 2. Calculate the conversion cost per unit. 3. Calculate the total variable product cost per unit. 4. Calculate the total product, that's the manufacturing cost per unit. 5. What if cell phones used could be manufactured next year? Explain in words how that would affect the unit prime cost, the unit conversion cost, the unit variable product cost, and the unit total product cost.
Okay, thank you. Like what we said, thank you so much. What do we mean prime cost? We said you only need what? Prime cost. Now discuss prime cost. Is courage.
We only need direct material and direct labor.
Direct material and direct labor, yes. Per unit. And this unit prime cost, so direct materials plus direct labor. Then you divide by the number of units. How many units are there? Some people are very pitiful. The major pitfall here. Some people they don't read the question. If the question is saying prime cost per unit, please, it means these ones were total costs. So read here. These costs were not for per unit. They were the following total costs. Please read the question and understand it before you attempt. I beg you to do that. You might move out of the examination claiming that you have totalized, but you have nothing in your pocket because you were not reading the question. Because if they are saying per unit, which means that you should add 150 plus 90 divided by the number of what? Units. The number of units, they are what? 30,000. Because direct material is the cost of 30,000 units. 150,000 is the cost of 30,000 units. 90,000 is the cost of 30,000 units. So it's very particular important for you to make sure that you understand the what? The question. So it means if you add this one, it's $8 per what? Per unit. Number two, if you go to your modules, if you go to some of the exercises, there are questions like that whereby you are asking the product per unit. People, they will not even, some of you are, and they can such an extent of adding the cost per unit plus the overall cost. I saw it several times whereby you students, they do that. That technique, make sure that when you are adding or you are subtracting, if you are subtracting cost per unit, make sure that you are using everything per unit. Convert everything per unit. If you want to convert maybe per overall products, make sure that everything is for overall products. You don't mix items. Then the next one, unit conversion costs. Unit conversion costs. So these words, conversion cost, what is the unit conversion cost? Hello, you can talk.
Okay. Conversion cost per unit, you are now saying direct labor plus overheads divided by number of units.
Okay, because we are now, where are we leaving direct materials? Any suggestion? Any suggestions? Any suggestions of leaving direct materials? Because generally cost of conversion want conversion cost, we need we are not worried about the direct material, but we want the cost of converting an item into a product. What the activities which are going to take place here? For example, we are going to have direct labor and overhead, because we are saying at the end of the day, we need labor. If we are going to convert that, the carpenters who are going to work, plus the variable what? Overhead. The variable overhead, we are saying, for example, you might need electricity to produce that. And then you plus what? The fixed cost. Exclude the what? The raw materials. Then variable product cost. We said variable cost, they vary with the level of production. If you want to produce more chairs, you need more wood. You need more nails. So something which varies with the level of production. So can you identify our variable cost here? What are our variable costs? Anyone, any volunteer?
Our variable costs direct materials
Yes,
and direct labor
yes,
and variable overheads.
yes.
Because those ones are the ones that will change
With the level of what?
of production.
All right, or output. So these are variable costs. So when a person wants you to say, can you a full cost? People sometimes they forgot that if we are saying if you need to produce 9, so variable cost per unit, what you can do, you add this one divided by 30,000, which means that the direct labor per unit is 90,000 divided by 30,000. That is $3 per what? Per unit. Which means that for producing any unit, you need a $3. Direct materials per unit is 150,000 divided by 30,000. That is the direct material per unit. Are we together?
Yeah.
Then variable overhead is 10,000 divided by 30,000 per unit. This means it's what? It's $1 per what? Per unit. But fixed overhead, maybe they say even if you produce 90, you still paying the same, or 70, except if it is a step fixed overhead, whereby they will say if you're at this level, you need more. If you're at this level, we need more. Then the unit product cost, you add everything here, including fixed cost, was one the product what cost. So we are now saying 150 plus 90 plus 90 plus 30 plus 450 divided by 30. We are now including the fixed what cost, because it's a product cost for the whole product. But variable one only, so it people they don't understand. Most of us they don't know what are variable costs and what are fixed costs. That's why I'm trying to hammer this for good, so that we don't have that problem again. So that we don't have such a problem again in future, whereby people they cannot understand these key basic words. Okay. So if you go sometimes in the target costing, yeah, require sometimes to make sure that you understand to say the target costing. It means if I need to produce 15,000 units, you say 15,000, you now flex, say 15,000 times number direct materials per unit. then 16,000 times direct labor per unit, then 15,000 times direct variable overhead per unit. That is critical. Then fixed costs remain the same, but you can flex these ones. So students are supposed to understand that concept. To say you cannot flex, you can flex what? You can flex variable costs. This one was saying, what if 32,000 cell phones could be manufactured next year? This is very critical. It's now target costing now. When I want to produce 32,000. So what you do, like what I said, explain ways how to affect the unit prime cost, the unit conversion cost, the unit variable cost, and the unit total production cost. On this situation, what does this mean? It means this 32,000, that is an increase from 30,000. So what's going to happen on the prime cost? Who can explain for us? Who is brave enough to explain for us?
Can you come again, say the question?
The question is saying, and you are seeing the question on the screen.
Yes.
Yes. Can you answer that final question to say if it's now 32,000?
Can I attempt?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. From the question, it means that when the production output is increased to 32,000, our variable costs will change. That is direct materials, direct labor, and possibly direct and variable overheads will change. The only thing which will not change will be fixed overheads, because it's not mentioned that maybe it's a stepped change where maybe fixed costs are change maybe change after certain production levels. I think.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, I think you explained it well. But what's going to happen on the cost of production per unit? Cost of production per unit. Total cost of production per unit. Total cost of production per unit. What are the effects of increasing volumes?
It will increase.
When you increase volume, it means from 30 to 32,000, that you have increased by 2,000.
So the production will increase because the total cost before 32,000 at 30,000, the total cost for production is lesser. It's 24. So if we say times the other extra 2,000, which means the costs are getting more higher.
Thank you for trying. Thank you for the brave. You are very brave enough. Okay, what happened is that usually the cost of production per unit decreases because those units are going to cover up the fixed costs. Because fixed costs, whether you produce 1 unit or 10 units, usually remain the same. So it's an advantage for you to produce more. So if you produce more, you are going to reduce the fixed cost per unit. For example, the fixed cost per unit here, 450 fixed overhead, 450,000 divided by 30,000 is higher than 450,000 divided by 32,000, because we now have a bigger denominator. So if you produce more, means the fixed cost per unit is going to be what? It's going to be very, very lowered. So this one, what I was saying, this is the answer. Read your answer, my friend. I didn't the answer. Chief,
Yes, sir.
can you read your answer?
If the number of units produced increases, there will be no impact on any unit variable cost. Thus, unit prime cost and unit variable cost would stay the same. However, unit conversion costs and the unit product cost would go down because of the fixed factory overheads. Fixed overheads will remain the same in total, but will decrease per unit as the number of units goes up. Conversely, if the number of units goes down, unit fixed overhead will increase.
Yes, thank you. So if you're producing less, it means the fixed cost per unit what will go up. But if you produce more, the fixed cost per unit will go down. Any person, but this is very critical. Any person, because if you don't understand these basics, you are out. What are you going to manage? Because you manage costs. And you should understand the category of each cost. Any person, any person. So as you practice other questions here, they becomes very, very, very easy. People, they might have a better knowledge of what to be done here. Some of my friends, they've got this book. Some, they might not have this book, but I'll give them for supplemental. Those who don't have, but there are some who are using this book as a core book. It's a very good book, a latest one. But it's simple to understand. It does not have so here the next one, let's just look on the cost behavior. Just a wind up of what we're doing. This one, basics of cost behavior. Cost behavior is a term used to describe whether and how a cost changes when the level of output changes. Those what we call variable what costs. So if you read it again, it can help you again this chapter. A cost that in total does not change in output change in fixed cost. A variable cost on the other hand increases with the what level of output. I think we have covered some of these things, some of this information, but I'm just trying variable cost or to go and reinforce variable cost. What we want to do, I want us to look on the I want to look on this topic which people they don't understand sometimes. That is cost volume profit analysis. So if you read this chapter, as you read, you see step variable cost, step fixed cost here, you enjoy reading like what we're saying, say those costs which changes to the level of production, and some they don't change the level of production. Let me check for, and the other methods of what, of separating costs again. This should be done. I'll come to you very soon. I'm checking the cost volume profit analysis. Hello. Hello, yes, I was muted. Yes. I was trying to open this one on cost volume profit analysis. Thanks for noting that. Okay. Why I want us to do this one is critical. It's very, very critical, the cost volume profit analysis. Once you understand this, it might be very easier for you sometimes to understand some of the key concepts here which are there. In the module of management accounting, cost volume profit analysis is there, but not, it's a bit shallow, but it's there. Then in the costing accounting, cost volume profit analysis is there again, but not in full. So here we're talking about the cost volume. Like the last previous question, we should correlate with what we're doing. Like the previous time, we're saying if you increase volume, what's going to happen? So it's cost volume profit analysis. What's going to happen to the profit is very critical. So as accountants, we should have that knowledge, broader knowledge to understand what happened if the cost improves. What happened if the volumes, if you increase volumes, what happened to the profit? So we are going to enjoy this. So break-even analysis, this falls under break-even analysis. At break-even analysis, the organization won't make profit or a loss. That's the break-even analysis. Because if you fail to produce more, sometimes the fixed costs will consume all the profit generated. Like what we were saying from the previous question, like what Chief was saying, to say the variable cost will be the same, but at the end of the day, fixed cost per unit will increase if we reduce the level of production, but fixed cost per unit will decrease if we increase, but it will be reduced. Fixed cost will increase. Sorry, fixed cost per unit will increase if you produce less. So want to produce less means fixed cost per per unit will increase. Then it's got an impact on our profit. Let's look here on the break-even point. This one, the cost volume profit analysis. We are saying we should push forward for volumes. Like in the modern manufacturing, like what we were saying, for you to remain competent enough, you should not only push for more profit, but you should push for volumes. But in Zimbabwe, you find out some of us, they want a profit of more than 100% per unit, per item. If somebody fails to get more than 100%, we'll just complain that he made a loss or she made a loss. But instead of pushing the volumes, so that you can, those volumes can able to cover up for the fixed costs. Okay. The fixed break-even point, like what I said, the point of zero profit, that is the break-even point. You don't make profit, you don't make loss. That is the break-even point. So what you understand, you should understand, because here we use the contribution method. The contribution method, we are saying the selling price less the variable cost. That's what we get a contribution. We don't worry, we are not worried about the what? We are not worried about the fixed costs, because fixed costs are not directly related to a certain production of such a certain goods. Like what we are saying, it means break-even point, the point of zero profit. We should understand that. To understand that is very critical. So we are saying, therefore, all costs, manufacturing, marketing are taken into account. Variable costs include all costs that increase as more units are sold, including direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, and selling and administrative costs. Can you please take care of these? Variable costs include all costs that increase as more units are sold, including direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, and variable selling and administrative costs. Similar, fixed costs are composed of all fixed overhead and fixed selling administrative expenses. So we need to be very, very careful on this one. What we mean by variable costs. Okay, let's look here. We are saying here, let's to be, so that people they can understand this. The fundamental concept of underlying CVP is cost, that is a cost towards volume profit. CVP analysis is that the firm's costs can be broken down into variable and fixed costs. Those are some of the basics. That the firm can be divided into variable and fixed costs. So it becomes a limitation when the fixed cost, when somebody cannot able to identify variable, cannot even separate variable and fixed costs, becomes a problem. Which means that an individual should be able to separate variable and fixed costs. A useful tool for organizing the firm's costs into fixed and variable categories is the contribution margin based income statement. Contribution margin based income statement. This is very critical. A contribution margin based income. So a contribution, we are only worried about sales minus variable costs. So here that we arrive at contribution. So we need to be very, very, very careful. Post volume profit, that is CVP, is an abbreviation. Okay, as we do this example, people will understand what we mean. I try to link from the previous week when we were talking about that, what are variable costs, what are fixed costs, and we did an example, and we try to explain what are the effects of producing low production and the effects of higher production. So here we are now going again to another area whereby we want to find out what is happening. Who can now read for us this one? Who can read for us? Those who read, they've got an advantage.
Blazin Boards Company plans to sell 10,000 snowboards at 400 each in the coming year. Product costs include direct materials per snowboard, $80. Direct labor per snowboard, $125. Variable overhead per snowboard, $15. Total fixed factory overhead, 800,000. Variable selling expense is a commission of 5% of price. Variable selling expense is a commission of 5% of price, fixed selling and administrative expenses, total 400,000. Why? Since variable product cost per unit consists of variable production or manufacturing costs, the plant manager would use this data. The plant manager is responsible for making a quality product as inexpensively and efficiently as possible. Knowing that variable product cost is 220 per unit provides a starting place for seeing what process improvements might do to the unit cost.
Continue.
The sales manager would be interested in the total variable cost per unit. Since this cost includes the sales commission, it reflects all the variable costs. Sales managers can see the impact of the commissions for which they are responsible, and can also see what impact a one-time discount might have on overall profitability. Top management will use the unit contribution margin for budgeting to see what impact an increase or a decrease in unit sales would have on operating income. Since fixed costs stay at the same when units change, the contribution margin gives important information. Required: 1. Calculate the variable product cost per unit, B, the selling expense per unit, C, the total variable cost per line, D, contribution margin per unit, E, contribution margin ratio, F, total fixed expense for the year. 2. Prepare a contribution margin based income statement for Blazen Boards Company for the coming year. 3. What if 13,000 boards could be manufactured and sold next year? How would that affect operating income? By what percent?
Okay, thank you so much. If I go further, I'll forget. The other year I was shocked when somebody was asked to say what is the cost per unit for this product. The person went on to say 80 plus 185 plus 15, surprisingly plus 800,000. I was shocked. You need to be very careful. Pay. This is for one product. Then total year, which means that this is now for what? This is not for one product, but for 10,000 snowballs. But the person went on to say plus 800,000. That is a common word. Then variable cost, you can lead again.
Solution 1A, variable cost per unit is equal to direct materials plus direct labor plus variable overhead.
Next, this is the variable product cost per unit. Okay, continue.
Okay, solution for question 1B. The selling expense per unit is equal to $400 times 0.05, which is equal to $20. Where did we get the 0.05?
Variable selling expense is a commission of 5% of price. So where's the price is what? 400. You need to understand the English. Snowballs at 400, so it's 5% times what? 400. Are we together? Some of you, they will start wondering what is happening. You need to follow up the Queen's language here. If the English becomes difficult for you, you might face some problems. Next.
Solution 1C.
Next.
Not
Question.
yet there.
Okay.
Solution for 1C. Variable cost per unit is equal to direct material plus direct labor plus variable overhead plus variable selling expense.
This one is a product cost for production cost. This one is for what? The total what cost. Be very careful. Then contribution margin.
Contribution margin per unit is equal to price. I don't know, this is minus price minus variable cost per unit, which is equal to 400 minus 240, 160.
160, that's the contribution. So you should understand that the contribution margin per unit will include also variable selling what expense. That you should understand that. So you should make sure that you understand, you should be able to pick to identify whether it's a variable selling expense or not. Then next, contribution margin ratio
Is equal to price minus variable cost per unit over divided by price. Or sales minus total variable cost divided by sales.
So you need to understand these formulas. So you're saying the price here minus variable cost per unit, that is the contribution. So in short, it's contribution, and it's contribution divided by the price per unit, if it is in unit. So the contribution, that is the 160, 200 minus 240, 160 divided by 400, the price, then it gets 0.40. That's the contribution margin ratio.
Okay.
These formulas, let me clarify this. There is no formula book in the examination. Sorry, I'm trying to just to tell people that you won't be given formula books in the, so you need to use your brain. Next,
Total fixed expense is equal to 800,000 plus 400,000. Okay.
this is simple, and if we are getting them from 800,000 plus 400,000, and that's the total fixed cost. Factory overhead is 800, but the total for the whole is 800 plus 400. This is simple, it's directive. Next,
Question 2. Lazen Board's company contribution margin based operating income statement for the coming year. Okay.
you should borrow knowledge from the previous studies whereby we were doing a income statement. Saying the income statement should start by sales.
Okay.
Continue.
Sales, it's 400 times 10,000 snowboards, which is 4 million. Then per unit, it's 400. What happened, Sailor? Total variable expense, $240 times 10,000, 2,400,000. The total, and then per unit is 240. Total contribution margin, it becomes 1,600,000. Then per unit 160. Total fixed expense 1,200,000. Operating income is the difference of total contribution margin and total fixed expense, that's 400. Increase in
This is
sales.
simple. We just put everything in what? we put everything in the whole. Those per unit multiplied by what? The number of snowballs. But this one was a source per unit variable per what? Per unit. Then you come up with the contribution. Then after total contribution, we've got total fixed cost, then operating income. That is the total net profit. Continue.
Increase
Then
in
if
sales.
they increase by what?
Increased in sales. 3,000 boards times 400.
Because
Should
if
I
you,
continue?
and what does its implication? If you increase the number, that is, let's say you are doing target costing. If you increase the number of sales, you also supposed to increase the number of what? Variable cost, they also increase because they're supposed to produce more what? Both. All together. Don't just increase only sales. You should also increase the what? The cost.
Okay, sir. And then we less increase in variable costs. That's 3,000 boards times 240. Then we less increase in fixed costs at Tatisina.
Yes.
Then increase in operating income. It's 480,000. Operating. Okay.
So the operating income is now what? So hello.
Hello, sir.
Of
Operating income will be 480,000. Higher or 800,000 in total. This is 120%. Inina ndichanzwa panapa se.
I'm studying.
Andizivi kuti ndarasika papi panapa.
Okay, yeah, and we're saying these people are they increased 3,000 boards and 2,000 boards times the sales for 400, that is given 1,800,000. But if you increase the number of boards, you are also going to incur expenses. The variable expenses, it was 240. So it's 240 times 3,000, which is 120,000. So it means, but the fixed cost, they will remain the same. Like what I previously said, like what Chief was saying, to say, if fixed cost, the cost per unit, cost per unit is likely to reduce if we produce more. So fixed costs will remain constant. That's why there is a zero, but they are constant. But the increase in operating income, the income will be increasing by 480,000. So which means that the income here, because of many fixed costs, it was 400,000. But now, look now, it's now 480 on this one. So 480 plus 400 is 880,000. So the operating income is now 480,000 higher. And what does this mean? Mean there was an increase. There's now an increase in what? In profit. 480 now increased over 400 by 120%. That is an advantage. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because all the fixed costs has been covered already. So the fixed costs, the more they are likely to have an impact in the profit. If the fixed costs are high, they will reduce the profit margin. Any question? Any question? So you have got work to read and understand this topic. Once you understand this, you are done. Because you can now able to understand the targeted income. You just reflect everything. Let's go on to target profit here. Let's go to 16.3.
Example 16.3 illustrates the calculation of break-even sales revenue and sales revenue needed to achieve a target profit for Blazin Boards company. In
3.3.
general, example 16.3.
Okay, yeah, correct. Start there. Yeah, correct.
Illustrates example 16.3 illustrates the calculation of break-even sales revenue and sales revenue needed to achieve a target profit for Blazin Boards company. In general, assuming that fixed costs remain unchanged, the contribution margin ratio can be used to find the profit impact of a change in sales revenue. To obtain the total change in profits from a change in revenue, simply multiply the contribution margin ratio by the change in sales. For example, if sales revenue is 4 million instead of 4,600,000, how will the expected profits be affected? A decrease in sales revenue of 600,000 will cause a decrease in profits of 240,000.
Continue, hello?
Blazin Boards company plans to sell to sell 10,000 snowboards at 400 each in the coming year. Unit variable costs equal to 240, total fixed costs equal to 1,200,000. Why? Companies frequently prefer to express the break-even point in sales revenue. To do that, we recognize that total sales revenue must cover both total fixed costs and desired operating income. That is the proportion of revenue left after variable costs are covered is what is left to cover fixed costs and income. Required. What is the contribution margin per unit? What is the contribution ratio? To calculate the sales revenue needed to break even. 3, calculate the sales revenue needed to achieve a target profit of 240,000. 3, what if Blazin Boards had target operating income? Target operating income, that's the profit of 350,000. Would sales revenue be larger or smaller than the one calculated in requirement 3? Why? By how much?
Okay, thank you. Then solution is simple. Contribution margin, we've been doing it for several times. The price over unit variable cost Then break-even sales revenue. That is the total fixed cost over contribution margin ratio. Like what I said, you are not going to be given a formula in the examination room. Don't waste your time reaching up your hand to tell you the invigilator that you need you are looking for a formula book. You become a laughing stock. So this the formula which is supposed to know total fixed cost, that is 1,200,000 divided by contribution margin ratio 0.40. It becomes 3 million. Target sales revenue is total fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin ratio. So it's total fixed costs, that's the formula, plus target profit. Fixed cost is 1,200,000. Target profit 204,000 divided by contribution margin ratio 0.40. Then you get 3,600,000. So here you should not use the contribution, but the contribution margin ratio, which is in decimal. Target profit of 350,000 is larger than 240,000. So the sales revenue needed would be larger by 225,000. New target sales revenue, that is 1,200,000 plus 350,000 divided by 0.40. That's the new target sales revenue, 3,875,000. Then increase in sales revenue, that is 875,000 minus 3,600,000. So what you need to do here, you need to understand these formulas to say break-even sales revenue. Like what I say, break-even sales revenue, total fixed cost minus contribution margin ratio. Target sales revenue is equal to total fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin ratio. So that is 1,200,000 plus 204,000 divided by 0.4. 1,200,000, that is a given total fixed cost. Target profit given 204,000. This one is given. Contribution ratio, that is we calculate over, that is the contribution divided by the price. Then you get what? You get the contribution margin ratio. So you get 3,600,000 what? That's the sales revenues which you are now targeting. Then you go on to target profit of 300 and what? And 50,000. This one's another question of 212,000 is larger than 240,000, which is given here. So the sales revenue needed would be larger by 200 and what? 275,000. This one has been calculated here. New target sales, that is the fixed cost, total fixed cost 1,200,000 plus 350,000. That is the new target, the according to the formula, divided by 0.40. Then you get this one. Then you say 3,875 minus 3, then you get 275. Any question? Any question? Any question?
There are too many questions. We need to go back to this.
Which one?
I think on our own, we need to read this so we can grab it because Panapa.
It's simple. And if you can able to calculate, and are able to calculate contribution. Hello?
Hello.
Are you able to calculate contribution?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So from that, if you can able to calculate contribution, and it means so you have to understand the basics, to appreciate the basics. like what we're saying to say the basics are contribution is equal to sales minus variable cost. Then after that, when they want a break-even sales revenue, the formula is total fixed cost over contribution margin ratio. This one. Are we together? How to calculate contribution margin ratio? That is a contribution 160 divided by 400, the price, gets 0.4 or 40%. So here is now total fixed cost, that is 1,200,000 divided by 0.4. Then you get 3 million. That is the break-even sales revenue. It's a formula, which the formula you should understand it. Then target sales revenue is the total fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin what? Ratio. So total fixed costs are given. That is 1,200,000. Target profit are given, which is 204,000. Then divided by 0.4, which you calculated in 1. Then you get 3.6 million. Then if it is 350, you go again, you do the same thing. Fixed cost 1.2 plus 350 divided by 0.4, then you get 3.875. Then there's an increase of 275,000. So you are saying it's what is better. Are we together? So that when
Yes,
you are
sir.
advising on your own, you now have the what?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we are together.
Yes, sir.
Hello, yes? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
thank
we are
you.
together.
If you understand this, you can flex any cost. So it means if you are given a question, you can able to know if you want to compare. For example, you can be given a question whereby they are saying how are you going to continue with the product or not. You start by calculating the contribution. Then after calculating the contribution, you can calculate the contribution per unit on that product. Then you can pick the product with higher contribution. So if you pick the product with the higher contribution, that's the product which you should do pay first. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
But if you cannot identify cost, you are out. If you cannot identify what is fixed cost, what is variable cost, it becomes a very big problem. And if you have got a problem of mathematics, it becomes a problem again. So you should appreciate numbers, so that those numbers as a manager can able to make a statement or to calculate or to comment. Because you cannot comment if you don't have proper figures. It becomes a very, very a big problem again. As you read, please read in time. Don't read on the last days. You'll be found wanting. Read when there's time. If you have got a challenge, ask me. I always try to answer everyone. Sometimes I might be busy, but when I get time, when you remind me, I'll try to help you. That is my job, is to help you. Our job is not to make you fail, but our job is to make you doing well and pass. So this one, I think, as you go on and try to read, you understand it. Then let me go to this one. When there is text, when there is text here, who can now read for us? when there is now tax, because Mturing will always need his tax. The professor will tax you. So you should understand that. Who can read for us now?
Okay, let me read. Blazin Boards Company wants to earn 390,000 in net, that is after tax, income next year. Snowboards are priced at $400 each for the coming year. Product costs include direct materials per snowboard, that is $80. Direct labor per snowboard, $125. Variable overhead per snowboard, $15. Total fixed factory overhead, $800,000. Variable selling expenses in a commission of 5% of price, fixed selling price, and administrative expense totals 400,000. Blazin Boards has a tax rate of 35%. Why? Top management may be increased in target net income, since the income taxes are a legitimate expense of the business and owners are interested in after-tax income. The accountant must first convert net income into operating income, since the tax rate is a variable that is not taken into account in the break-even equation. Once the conversion is made, the break-even equation can be applied. Required. Number one, calculate the before-tax profit needed to achieve an after-tax target of 422,500. Number two, calculate the number of boards that will yield operating income calculated in requirement one above. Number three, prepare an income statement for Blazin Boards Company for the coming year based on the number of boards computed in requirement 2. Number four, what if Blazin Boards had a 30% tax rate? Would the units sold to reach a 422,500 target net income be higher or lower than 11,563? Calculate the number of units needed.
Okay, can continue.
Okay, solution 1. Before tax income. It is found by saying after tax income divided by 1 minus tax rate. That is 422,500 divided by 1 minus 0.35. That is our percentage rate. And then we get 422,500 divided by 0.65. Finally, the answer is 650,000. Number 2, number of boards. They are found by saying total fixed cost plus target profit. However, total fixed cost number of boards are found by saying total fixed cost plus target profit divided by price minus variable cost per unit. That is 1,000. That is 1,200,000 plus 650,000 divided by 400 minus 240. And then we get 11,563. Say, can you tell us where we find 1,200,000?
That's the fixed cost.
Oh, that's the
Fixed cost.
fixed cost.
They're given, and they're given 1,200,000, which were given on that to say our total fixed is 800,000, then 400,000 here. 800,000 plus 400,000
Okay.
from administrative expense totals.
Oh, it's okay. So the number of boards, it is fine, but saying total fixed cost plus target profit divided by price minus variable cost per unit. That is 1,200,000 plus 650,000 divided by 400 minus 240, and then we get 11,563. Solution number 3. Solution number 3. It is saying we should prepare a comprehensive income. So we say sales. We get sales by saying 400 times 11,563. And then we get our total sales, followed by total variable expenses. We say 240 times 11,563, and then we get 2,775,120. And then after that, we subtract. Okay, we subtract sales minus total variable costs and get 1,850,080. Is it true that we subtract?
Yes, and subtract variable is sales minus variable costs. Then you get contribution margin.
Okay. And then after that, we then say total fixed expenses. That is 1,200,000. So we subtract my total fixed expenses and we get 650,080. We then less income tax. So income tax, we say 650,080 times 35%. That is, we get 227,528. After netting income tax, we then get net income, which is 422,502. That's our comprehensive income. There's a note saying, note that net income is 52 higher than the target. Higher than the target. Can you someone read for me? I'm not seeing properly.
Oh, it was because of round off. Don't worry. Rounding off. Go to 4.
Oh, it's okay. So we have solution 4. The units would be lower than 11,500. So it's $11.
11,523.
The units will be lower than 11,523 since the lower tax rate means that a smaller operating income would be needed to yield the same target net income. So before tax income, it is equals to after tax income divided by 1 minus tax rate. So our after tax income is
422,500 divided by 1 minus 0.3. So where did you get the 0.3?
Given tax
Oh.
rate, if plus and boarded the 30% tax rate, 30% is 0.3.
Okay. All right. So before tax income equals to after tax income minus 1 divided by 1 minus tax rate. So equals to 422,500 divided by 1 minus 0.3, which is equals to 603,571. So number of boards are found by saying total fixed cost minus target profit divided by price minus variable cost per unit. That is 1,200,000. Okay, it's plus 1,200,000 plus 603,571 divided by $400 minus 240. And then we get 11,272. And
Okay. Yeah, I think what is added here, we've added what the issue of tax. So for you to go back where you were first for the tax, what you need to understand is that the formula, if now they are saying this price is now $9 after tax, if you want to go back where you were before that, you just say $9 divided by 1 minus the tax rate, you go back where you were first. That's the formula. So if you want to go back, even if you are doing your business, something has been charged tax and you want to return where you were, you just say the value of that item divided by 1 minus the tax charged. Then you go back where you were. So the tax here was 35%. That's why this is 1, it means 100%. 100% minus 35%, that is 65%. 65% as a decimal fraction is 0.65. So it's 422,50 divided by 0.65, then you get 560,000. 650,000, sorry. Then 650,000, if we need a number of boards, we say fixed cost, that's 1,200,000 plus 150,000 divided by the contribution. The contribution ratio, contribution is 500 minus 240. That divided by what? Contribution. Then when it comes to this, we just multiply 400 times what? This one. Variable cost the same. Fixed cost does not be multiplied, remain the same as 1,200,000. Then you get operating profit. Then income taxes, we say because we should pay tax, it's an expense of the business tax. So it's 350,080 times 0.35. Then we get net income. Then the units would be lower than 11,523. It's in the lower. This one we're now commenting. Before tax income, the same thing. Number of boards, the same. You do the same approach. You use the same approach as in 1 and 2. Yeah. Only that here we've now changed the number of what the profit is now 422. So it's 422,500 divided by 1 divided minus 0.3, and the tax is changed again. It's now 30% other than what? 35%. Then you get this figure. Then this figure plus total fixed cost divided by what? Divided by that is contribution, you get this one. 11,272. 11,272, which is lower than this one. Any question?
Can you go back to the question again? I just want to see where did you get the 30%?
What if plus imposed a 30% tax rate?
Okay.
At
Okay.
first, it was 35%. From this, at first, it was 35 what percent?
Yes, sir.
Though the tax had decreased, the tax what
Okay.
had decreased. Any other questions? I think the justice has been done on some of these areas. So people, they should go and what? If you are doing a graphical approach here, the graphical approach, cost volume profit graph, at here, profit or loss, here it's still because of the fixed cost. You find out that the break even is a 20, whereby you are saying don't make profit or what or a loss. Then as you go on, it's zero. When you've got a zero here, break even, you find the break even when the profit or loss zero. That's the break even point. Then here is now a what? A profit from here. So it means this company requires 20 to produce 20 units or to sell 20 units so that it arrives at what? A break even point. That's the required rate. You can construct your own graph to copy. Okay. Then here we're supposed to create what we call margin of safety. If you have got a break-even point, this one is the profit area, this one was a loss area. Because total cost, they were increasing because of variable costs. Though fixed costs are what? Fixed costs here. Fixed costs are the same, they won't increase. But at this point, because we've got some variable costs, so total cost here is total cost consists of variable expenses plus fixed costs. So if we add this portion plus what? This portion, then you get what? Total cost. So this is the margin of safety, this area. So to understand, this is the area margin of safety. Then you should understand again the assumptions of cost volume profit analysis. What are those assumptions? The analysis assumes a linear revenue function and a linear cost function. We don't have a curve linear, but a linear what? Function. Whereby are saying the variable costs, they increase with the output, level of output. So that's a linear function. A linear function, this is a linear function whereby it's straight line like this. That is what we call a linear function. It was a curved linear graph. It's like this. For those who did mathematics at O level, when you were doing the quadratic equations, those are what? A curved linear. Curved linear is not straight like this. The analysis assumes that price, total fixed cost, and unit variable cost can be accurately identified and remain constant over the relevant range. So we are saying the price of that, you don't change the price of the product. If the price of the product is 2 million, to remain what? 2 million. Then the total fixed cost, they remain the same again. Then variable costs also remain the same. Over A can be easily identified and remain constant over the relevant range. Constant over the relevant range. Constant over the relevant range. Okay, the analysis assumes that what is produced is sold. Like what we were saying, we go on to JIT, just in JIT, whereby we're saying the products which we should sell, we should produce the product which we want to sell. All those theories which we're doing at first, which we're discussing earlier, they apply. The analysis assumes that what is produced is sold. That is JIT. For multiple product analysis, the sales mix is assumed to be known. So for multiple products, if you are producing many products, the sales mix should be known. The selling prices and costs are assumed to be known with certainty. To understand the selling price and costs, then you can come up with what? Cost volume. Volume, it means you are pushing volumes to cover up for the what? For the costs. If the volumes are low, it becomes a burden to the company because they are going to, those costs are going to be covered by lower volumes of goods and services. You can read here, you can find out the curvilinear CV relationship. This is the curvilinear CVP relationship, which you are saying. Say when the graph is like this, becomes a problem. When it is a curvilinear like this, becomes a problem. The relevant range and linear relationship. The linear, and this is a curve linear. Curve linear is not straight, it can go a little bit downwards, going up, not in a straight line. That is a curve linear what? CV relationship. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Hello, colleagues.
Hello, sir.
Any other questions?
As for me, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Euphrates. Okay, so what we can do now, I need your questions when you are writing your assignments. It's just a reminder. Please do your own assignments, maybe in groups. Don't pay money for somebody to do your assignment. For some people, they can, even if you read these books, you might get similar questions. Then some people, they will just take from this book, then you pay money. But you don't understand what does it mean or in other books. So you are making other people to be rich. Then when the exam comes, you cannot even hire them. They are now facing some problems. So I always urge people not to pay money to write for somebody to hire somebody to write an assignment for them. Because you've seen many people scoring 90%, 100% in the assignment, but come examination, somebody's getting a 0 or a 2%. So please avoid that. Work hard for yourself, read when there's time. Don't wait to start reading over the night to say, I'm going to spend the whole night reading. There are 10 topics. So those 10 topics, you cannot read them over the night. Then for those who are doing back to 07, I shared them, I gave them a slide. They should read that slide and the question on the slides, especially the linear programming, should understand those questions. Then it makes your work easier if you do assignment on your own than to hire people to do the assignment for you. Any other questions? Any other questions? So what you need to do is to form your groups. Then you read to people who are willing to learn, not people who just come to make noise. Some people when they are coming there, they come to disturb everything. I'm not sure why. So make noise. When you go there again, the other thing for you should go and read. When you are writing an assignment, if it is an essay question, please cite relevant literature. For example, the question explains the basic concept of constraint optimization. We don't expect you just to write points only, but we expect you to cite other relevant literature to show that you know what you are doing. So people, they need to be very practical. Hello, colleagues.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
I'm still waiting for your questions. I'm giving you this time to have some questions which you don't understand. Those who are using this book, can you please back to 3.2, just go through only those topics indicated on the course outline and just practice those questions plus assignment. Then those who are doing management accounting, the OT, can they also give themselves time to read the module? So that they don't leave any stone unturned. Then I will send you some information, some critical information on the. I'll send that information in your groups.